Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have once again, and also at least if you guys have been closely watching all the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X restocks, some very intriguing information when it comes to which is kind of winning this big console fight. Now, we always kind of keep on hearing the Switch OLED is always just perpetually churning out and making and buying consoles, but every now and then, and especially this past few weeks, we've been seeing a lot of really good bump ups for the Xbox Series X. Now, this also kind of goes to the big, back and forth between the Switch and the PlayStation 5. So I kind of want to go talk about this because we actually do have some very intriguing numbers, some very intriguing competitions, and funny enough, it actually does seem like the Xbox actually has outsold the PlayStation 5. So a lot of intriguing stuff to go talk about over here. And as well, if you guys ever want to go leave your comments down below, feel free to. Just make sure you guys are always nice and cool. And as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console and Controller. Twitter and Twitch room as well, link down below. And sign up for Weeble, sign up for Coinbase, and all that good stuff. And let's go dive in the video itself. So, a lot of stuff to go talk about. As you guys know, in the general sense, in case you guys don't, the PlayStation 5 as of right now is literally on the upper spectrum in terms of sales. Right now, a lot of the expected numbers for the PlayStation 5 are quite a bit higher than all the expected numbers for the Xbox Series X, based on both analytical numbers and also numbers the companies themselves have put on out. But if you guys have also been kind of somewhat paying attention to the market, the PlayStation 5s have been very hard to find. Now, we also have still been having restocks kind of sprinkled on in, but in the general sense, these past probably, like I'd say, like 2-3 months have been very dry. But if you guys also go look at almost every big retailer, the Xbox Series X has been churning consoles. We had things like Amazon being stocked forever. We had Walmart itself having stock. We've had Target nonstop having stock, Best Buys as well, and pretty much everything in the entire planet has been going and feeling pretty good. So, what does that kind of mean? What do these informations mean? And all this stuff. So we actually have two things to go talk about. Number one, on just how good the Xbox has been doing, as well as the overall general sales in comparison to the Switch, Xbox, and all that. And two, just kind of how the rest of March has been. So we have some pretty intriguing articles to go talk about over here from also William D'Angelo for VG Charts. So let's go and talk about it. So as you guys can probably go and tell from this one, the Xbox has been doing pretty solid. So I'm going to go and chime on over a little bit of this stuff and show you guys some of these more specific numbers. So let's go roll with it. The Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console, which is a really big duh. Like, I think a lot of us can collectively agree on that one. They just print sales. There's brand new kids being born every other day, and yeah, their market's pretty big. So, for this one, they've actually sold 353,540 units sold for the week ending March 27th. So as you guys know, we're like a few days behind on that, but just because you can't get like the literal analytics of what happened yesterday everywhere, it just takes a little bit of time for that one. So it's pretty up to date. It's also more so based on the estimates themselves, and as a per two as well, they did just recently pass the 100 million sales, and as of the current moment, it's looking like it's 106 million units per the lifetime. Now, if you guys want to look at the Xbox Series X, which is kind of like the big driving factor for this video, the Xbox Series X and S sold 220,631 units to now bring their lifetime sales to around 13.6 million units. And as well, surprisingly enough, it actually did outsell the PlayStation 5, which did go and sold an estimated 211,765 units to now bring its lifetime sales at 18.6 million units. Now, first and foremost, with a kind of a big 5 million unit disparity, that's like still kind of more favored in the PlayStation 5 side. Although, these past few weeks especially, which we'll have another article as well to kind of talk even more numbers, we've actually seen the Xbox coming in a clutch. And as I mentioned, we've just been seeing them in stock everywhere, which is kind of how Xbox themselves kind of has to win this console fight. They have to make more consoles, both the Xbox Series X and X, and as well, kind of hit more different markets. So think India, think China, think Europe, think South America, think Japan, etc. And while they are somewhat doing that, as of right this past week, they've been doing it well. We've been seeing stock pretty much everywhere, so we'll have to see if that keeps on turning out. Although, in some of the PlayStation's defense, we do sometimes see these cycles where it's like Xbox is in stock for 2-3 weeks, then they kind of taper off for a little bit, they make more consoles, move out consoles, and then at that point, usually the PlayStation's really big in stock, and it's kind of like a vice versa. So, it's not always end-all be-all. As well, also the PlayStation 5 sales compared to the same week apparently with the PS4 are actually even down, where the PlayStation 4 back in the day was actually selling over 100,000 more units, and as well, if in comparison to the Xbox, are actually up over 136 66,000 units from back in the previous generations. And that's also very intriguing to always go note too as well. So, interesting. Nintendo Switch also apparently, funny enough, are actually even down too as well from the same week by 400,000 units, which is ridiculous. So, like 54% down. And the PlayStation 5 is actually down in comparison to previous year, over 100,000 units. And the Xbox Series X is actually up over 100,000 units. Like, we're rounding up a little bit, up and down a little bit too as well. So, kind of crazy enough, looks like Switch has been doing really good over the past week. PlayStation 5 sales, believe it or not, even though we've barely seen that many big online restocks, are also up by 43,000, and Xbox sales are actually apparently down in the comparison to the week before by 9,000. But that's not bad at all, too, because I'd rather have more of a consistent number, say for what Xbox is doing versus the PlayStation 5. Although, very bluntly, all these numbers are phenomenal, and I think gaming as a whole, even with this semiconductor issue, has been doing very, very well. So here's all the global estimates, at least for this past week or so, where you guys can actually see the Switch, 353,000. The Xbox Series X beating the PlayStation 5 by over 9,000 at 220. PlayStation 5 at 211. And then also PlayStation 4 at 15, and Xbox One at 1,200. And if you guys want to look at the American side, so think US, Canada, and Latin America, Xbox Series X at over 20,000, more than even the Switch itself. And then the Switch is 141, and then the PlayStation 5 at 86,000. So at this point, the Xbox has actually sold over double the amounts of consoles in comparison to the PlayStation 5. And as well, we also see similar numbers too, where the PlayStation did actually go win out over in the Xbox, but combine them together, you guys can saw the numbers are a little bit on the bigger side. And obviously the PlayStation 5 too, funny enough, has been doing phenomenally well in comparison to, say, the Xbox in like Japan, Asia, and Middle East too on top of that. And then same too, they're all pretty comparable as well in Oceania too on top of that. So very intriguing to note that we always see the Switch itself just kind of zooming perpetually always over, although they are on a slightly different chipset, which does make it a little bit more easier to produce. And the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 on the similar side. Xbox Series S is more aligned with the Nintendo Switch. As well as a slightly different article too as well, on the same person, talk about how the Xbox Series X and S was the best-selling console in the UK in March, too, as well, compared to the Switch in second and the PS5 in third, too, on top of it. So it kind of just depends on the time frame you're looking at, too, as well. So the head of the game industry, Christopher Dring, actually made a post on this, too, kind of supporting what we just talked about, announcing that the Xbox Series X and S was actually the best-selling platform in the UK in March, while the Nintendo Switch came in second place in the PS5 in third. There was more stock available for the Xbox Series X in March than in previous months, which definitely helped boost out the sales numbers. And I would say the same thing as you guys saw from the previous articles also came to America. American markets, as I mentioned, for the Xbox Series S's especially, are pretty much perpetually always in stock, while the Xbox Series X has been doing pretty good too as well, although it is finally now tapering off out of stock. So we'll see how long and how quick it takes for them to basically go and restock and kind of replenish up that supply, especially after seeing places like Walmart still having stock. I'd be kind of curious if Walmart's getting a perpetual stock or if it's just a big lump sum they're trying to go through. As well, though, it was also a tough month for the amount of stock for all the consoles in the UK, and all three platforms, as you guys saw in the previous information, are actually down year to date after 3 months. March looks like it's been another tough month for console stock in the UK, and also had probably still been in America besides the Xbox, particularly on the PS5. Although it's better than February, Xbox Series X and S have had the best month in March, primarily due to the arrival of more X consoles. All three platforms are actually down, as we mentioned, year to date. We have Christopher over here stating March looks like it's been another tough month, as we just covered over here, for the console stock in the UK, particularly on the PS5. Although it's better than February, Xbox Series S and X had the best month in March, primarily down to the arrival of more Xbox Series X consoles. And then at this point, they also had other confirmations stating, does this mean the order is Xbox Series X and S, then the Switch and the PS5, with people confirming, yes, that is right. So at the end of the day, it kind of goes to show that the Xbox actually has been doing really well. Now, in the general sense, the PlayStation 5 still has sold more, and as well on top of that too as well, we also have been seeing just, I think, a little bit more still excitement when it comes to PlayStation 5s, where even bundles are instantly selling out, while Xbox Series X bundles have, well, obviously not been selling out as quickly. But at the end of the day, we are still seeing massive numbers on both sides, and I would say all three are massive, massive successes. But it's always kind of intriguing to go and see that sometimes the PlayStation just isn't really doing as good in terms of production, and they're kind of slacking at least a little bit. So kind of give me your thoughts and comments down below. I always love seeing these analytical numbers, and also it's very cool to see on how close this, even with PlayStation 5 not restocking as much, has even been in terms of these consoles, because who are even getting these consoles at the end of the day? That's what I want to know. So give me your thoughts and comments down below as well. Always be nice and cordial. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below. And sign up for Weeble. Deposit $100, get a bunch of free stack, free money. Same with that Coinbase too as well. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. We guys have a good rest of your nights, and I'll see you guys all very, very soon.